So I love Bernie Sanders talking about business, talking about corporations, talking about the ultra-elite wealthy, talking about the shrinking and dwindling middle class. What a surprise, Bernie. Let's see. Your big concern is big corporations moving all of the jobs offshore. And you're going to change that. You're going to stop that from happening. You have no concept on how or why, but you're going to address the symptom. It'd be like me saying, wow, you have a fever, let's throw you in 33-degree water. Is that going to work? Now, let's find the cause. Why are jobs being exported to Singapore, Malaysia, Brazil, China? Any idea? Maybe if you had a real job in the real world, maybe if Hillary Clinton ever had a real job in the real world, Barack Obama, real job, real world, he did sell some blow and weed in college for profit, so he does understand the profit motive and avoiding regulation, apparently. So here's the solution, Bernie. If I own all of the rubber in the United States or all of the manufacturing capability in, let's say, an assembly line, I'm a monopoly, but I can own all the welders in Detroit, better known as a union, and I'm not a monopoly? Let's see. Companies don't really like that because now the union is setting the wage and forcing it down the company's throat. Oh, that happened at GM and they failed and we had to bail them out. Unions, a problem. Who's kissing your ass? The unions. Whose ass are you kissing? The unions. Who got exemption from the Affordable Health Care Act? The unions. Interesting. Let's see what else. Taxes. Corporate federal tax rate at the highest level, about 40%. Let's add state tax into it. Let's add all the other bullshit tax into it, like the Affordable Care Act, for instance, which forces, again, something that didn't work at General Motors. Universal health care, it broke the back of the company and the federal government had to do what? Bail them out. Well, if you're in a union, a lot of unions got exemptions. Why did Barack give the unions exemptions? Why did Congress get exemptions from that? Because it's dog shit. It doesn't work. It broke the back of General Motors and now we're forcing it on the country. So what do companies do? They move offshore because they don't have to deal with that. Regulations, let's see. If I were to take this phone, for instance, and I were to manufacture it here, it would create about this much pollution. But because of unions, regulation, taxation, we don't want any pollution created in the United States when we're making this phone. Guess what? We're already one of the cleanest creators of units, devices, manufacturing in the world. So what do? We take this manufacturing and we send it to Brazil. Are they clean? No. China, polluters. Singapore. What are you thinking? So now, instead of making this much pollution to create this, having the jobs here, a tax base in a middle class, we send this manufacturing over there and they pollute the shit out of the air, pollute the shit out of the water, child labor, and guess what? No jobs here. No jobby, Bernie. No jobby, Hillary. So we can go back. Fairly interesting model that the Democrats create these issues. Then they point at the symptom of the problem, and then they get people to jump up and down in purple dresses and men wearing vests and open-toed shoes behind them. Let me explain something to you. If you want the middle class to grow in the United States, don't point your finger at executives at companies. Don't point your fingers at corporations, because what are corporations? They're a number. They're a tax number. They're owned by endowments for teachers' unions. They're owned by municipalities and the funds that they have. They're owned by you and I and mutual funds and stocks. So stop pointing the finger at the rich people. The only reason that those jobs are going offshore are because asshats like you have put taxes, regulation, and a whole variety of other barriers to companies growing here in the United States. So it's time to change that. Stop shaking your fist in the air and talking about the symptom of the problem when you created the problem, jackass. It's time to get all of you Dems and all of the people, including little Marco, out of the way that have never had a real job, never signed the front of the check, never had P&L responsibility. Time to go. Time to go. I'll take even a guy like Trump that can be abrasive at times. At least he ran a business in the private sector. And guess what? Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz all made their money doing Never creating a job. In politics, they went from being paupers and telling their story about how they were a bartender's son to having a shit ton of money. How is that? Because they get money from lobbyist groups. So if you want a guy that's not going to take money from lobbyist groups, that's not going to have his campaign funded by some big corporation, why don't you vote for a guy like Trump? That's how the country started. Founders who were they? Oh, not career politicians. They were scientists, inventors, military guys, business guys, physicians. That's what we need again, and that's what we're going to get. And if you don't like it, you can get out.